Maya stood outside the coffee shop, her hands trembling slightly as she checked her reflection in the window one last time. She'd spent the last of her paycheck on this dress, a simple navy blue one that her best friend insisted made her eyes pop. Now, standing here, she wondered if it was all a mistake. The truth was, Maya hadn't been on a date in 3 years. Not since college, when her ex-boyfriend had left her for someone thinner, prettier, more put together. Since then, she'd buried herself in work at the bakery, convincing herself that she was fine alone. But loneliness has a way of creeping in during quiet moments, and lately, those moments had become harder to ignore. Her best friend had been persistent. "Just give him a chance," she'd said. "He's my cousin. And I promise, he's different. He's sweet, funny, and he specifically said he doesn't care about looks." Those words had given Maya hope. Maybe, just maybe, this could be the start of something good. She pushed open the door, and the smell of fresh coffee and vanilla hit her immediately. The cafe was cozy, with warm lighting and soft jazz playing in the background. She spotted an empty table by the window and sat down, ordering a latte she couldn't really afford. Her date was supposed to arrive at 7. It was already 7:15. Maya pulled out her phone, checking for messages. Nothing. She told herself, traffic could be bad. He could be running late from work. These things happened, but as the minutes ticked by, a familiar knot of anxiety began forming in her stomach. At 7:30, the door chimed, and a tall man in a crisp button-down shirt walked in. He looked around the cafe, and when his eyes landed on her, Maya raised her hand in a small wave. She watched his face carefully, looking for recognition, for a smile. Instead, what she saw made her heart sink. His expression fell. Just for a second, but she caught it. That look of disappointment, of surprise, of someone who'd been expecting something different. He recovered quickly, walking over with a forced smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Maya?" he asked, though it was clear he already knew the answer. "Yes, hi. You must be Trevor," she said, standing up and extending her hand. He shook it briefly, barely making eye contact. He sat down across from her, immediately pulling out his phone and placing it on the table. "Sorry I'm late. Work was crazy." "That's okay, I understand," Maya said, trying to sound cheerful. "I just ordered a latte. The menu looks great if you want to get something." "Yeah, maybe," he said, scrolling through his phone. He ordered a black coffee when the waitress came by. Nothing else. Maya tried to make conversation. She asked about his job. He was a sales manager at a tech company. He gave short, distracted answers, his eyes constantly drifting to his phone or around the cafe, anywhere but at her. "So, your cousin tells me you like hiking?" Maya tried again, remembering what her friend had mentioned. "Yeah, I try to stay active. Hit the gym 6 days a week. It's important to take care of yourself. You know?" There was an edge to his voice, and Maya felt her cheeks flush. "That's great. I've been wanting to exercise more. But with work at the bakery, I'm usually exhausted by the end of the day," she said, hating how defensive she sounded. Trevor nodded absently. "Right. The bakery. That's probably tough. Being around all that food. All day." The comment hung in the air between them. Maya's throat tightened. She took a sip of her latte, trying to think of something, anything, to say, but Trevor wasn't even pretending to be interested anymore. He was openly texting someone, his fingers flying across the screen. "I need to use the restroom," Maya said quietly, standing up. Trevor barely looked up. She walked toward the back of the cafe, her vision blurring with tears she refused to let fall. Not here. Not in public. She'd cry later. At home. Like she always did. In the narrow hallway leading to the restrooms, she heard a voice. Trevor's voice. "Dude, this is a disaster," he was saying into his phone, his back to her. She's way bigger than in her photos. Like, significantly bigger. I know my cousin meant well. But come on. I'm not wasting my Friday night on this. Maya froze. She should have kept walking, should have gone into the restroom and locked herself in a stall. But her feet wouldn't move. I don't care if it sounds harsh, Trevor continued. I work hard on my body. I deserve someone who does the same. Someone I'm actually attracted to. You know? This is just... No. I'm going to wrap this up and get out of here. Maya's hands were shaking. Her chest felt tight, like someone was squeezing her heart. She forced herself to move, to step into the restroom before he turned around and saw her. Inside, she gripped the sink, staring at her reflection under the harsh fluorescent lights. Her makeup was still perfect. Her hair looked nice. She'd tried so hard. The woman staring back at her in the mirror was the same woman who'd never been enough. Who'd always been too much. She dabbed at her eyes with a tissue, took a deep breath, and walked back out. Trevor was already at the table, his jacket on, wallet in hand. Listen. I just realized I have an early morning tomorrow, he said, not quite looking at her. I think we should call it a night. Maya nodded, unable to trust her voice. I already paid for the coffees, he continued, standing up. It was nice meeting you. But I don't think this is going to work out. You seem nice. But I'm just not attracted to... well, to this. He gestured vaguely in her direction, as if she were a piece of furniture he'd decided not to purchase. And then he was gone, walking out of the cafe without looking back. Maya sank into her chair, staring at her half-finished latte. The couple at the next table had definitely heard everything. She could feel their eyes on her, full of pity. An older woman near the counter was shaking her head. The teenage barista looked uncomfortable. The tears came then, hot and fast, streaming down her face no matter how hard she tried to stop them. She fumbled in her purse for her wallet. She just needed to pay and leave. To get out of this cafe and never come back. This was it, she thought. This was why she'd stopped trying. This was why she'd built walls around her heart and told herself she was better off alone. Because putting yourself out there only led to this. To sitting in a coffee shop, crying while strangers pretended not to watch. Feeling every ounce of shame and unworthiness that she'd spent 3 years trying to bury. Her hands were still shaking as she pulled out her credit card. She just wanted to go home, to crawl into bed, and to forget this night ever happened. Tomorrow, she'd go back to her safe, predictable life. She'd smile at customers at the bakery. She'd decorate cakes. She'd pretend she was fine. But right now, in this moment, she'd never felt more alone in her entire life. Maya was still fumbling with her wallet when she heard a gentle voice beside her. Excuse me. I really don't mean to intrude, but I saw what happened. And I just want you to know that guy is a complete idiot. She looked up, wiping her eyes quickly. Standing next to her table was a man in his mid-30s with kind eyes and an apologetic smile. He had slightly messy dark hair and wore a casual sweater with jeans. But what really caught her attention was the little girl holding his hand. She couldn't have been more than 6 years old, with pigtails and a bright pink jacket. I'm sorry, I know this is weird, the man continued. But my daughter here pretty much insisted I come talk to you. She's very determined when she wants to be. The little girl nodded seriously. That man was very mean to you. My daddy says mean people don't deserve cookies, and I think he's right. Despite everything, Maya felt a small smile tugging at her lips. The girl's expression was so earnest, so genuinely concerned. We were sitting right over there, the man said, pointing to the table next to hers. I tried to mind my own business. Really. But Lily here wouldn't let it go, she said. And these are her exact words. Daddy. That mean man made the pretty lady cry. And now she's all alone. We have to do something. Maya didn't know what to say. She looked at the little girl, Lily, who was staring up at her with big brown eyes, full of sympathy. I'm David, by the way, the man said. And I know this is probably the last thing you want right now. But would you mind if we sat with you for a bit? Just so you're not alone? You can absolutely say no. I promise we're not weird or anything. Well, I'm not weird. Lily's a little weird, but in a good way. Daddy! Lily protested, giggling. Maya surprised herself by laughing. A real laugh. Not a forced one. It's okay. You can sit. Thank you. David pulled out a chair, and Lily immediately climbed into the one next to Maya. She pulled a coloring book and crayons from a small backpack and spread them on the table. Do you like to color? Lily asked. I'm coloring a butterfly. You can help if you want. I'd like that. Maya said softly. David ordered hot chocolate for Lily and another coffee for himself. He caught the waitress's eye and gestured to Maya's nearly empty latte. Could we get another one of those too? Please? Oh, you don't have to. Maya started. I know I don't have to. But that guy left you with a cold coffee and a bad experience. The least I can do is get you a warm one. His smile was warm and genuine, with no trace of pity in it. Just kindness. Lily pushed the coloring book toward Maya and handed her a purple crayon. This is my favorite color. What's yours? I think. Blue, Maya said, taking the crayon. Like the ocean. The ocean is nice, Lily agreed. Daddy took me to the beach last summer. I found 17 shells. Well, maybe it was 16. I might have counted one twice. As Maya colored with Lily, David made easy conversation. He didn't ask about what happened with Trevor. He didn't mention her crying or make her feel embarrassed. Instead, he talked about normal things. How Lily had lost her first tooth last week. How he'd burned dinner 3 times this month, trying to learn new recipes. How they'd adopted a very fat cat named Mr. Whiskers, who refused to catch mice but was excellent at knocking things off counters. What do you do for work? David asked. If you don't mind me asking. I work at a bakery, Maya said. Henderson's, over on 5th Street. I decorate cakes mostly. Lily's eyes went wide. You make cakes? Like birthday cakes with frosting and everything? Exactly like that, Maya said, feeling herself relax. Actually, I just finished one today with butterflies on it. Real sugar butterflies that I painted by hand. That sounds so pretty, Lily exclaimed. Daddy, did you hear that? She makes butterfly cakes? I heard, David said, grinning. That sounds like amazing work. I can barely frost a store-bought cake without it looking like a disaster. It's not that hard once you learn the technique, Maya said. It just takes practice. They talked for another 20 minutes. Maya learned that David was a high school art teacher, which explained why Lily had a very impressive collection of art supplies. He'd been teaching for 8 years and loved it, even though the pay wasn't great and teenagers could be challenging. The best part is when you see a student finally get it, David said, his face lighting up. When they create something they're really proud of. That makes all the difficult days worth it. Maya found herself opening up too. She told them about how she'd always wanted to open her own bakery someday. How she spent her free time watching baking videos and experimenting with new designs. How she'd created a whole portfolio of cake designs that she dreamed of making if she ever had her own shop. Why don't you do it? David asked. Open your own place? Maya shrugged. Money, mostly. And fear. If I'm being honest, it's a big risk. The best things usually are, David said thoughtfully. But I get it. Fear is powerful. Lily had finished her hot chocolate and was yawning. She'd colored 3 pages and was now leaning against Maya's arm, her energy clearly fading. Someone's getting sleepy, David said gently. We should probably head home. It's past bedtime. Maya felt a strange pang of disappointment. The last hour had been so unexpectedly nice. She'd almost forgotten about Trevor, about the humiliation, about everything. Thank you, she said. Really, you have no idea how much I needed this tonight. I think I have some idea. David said kindly. He pulled out his phone. This might be forward, but could I get your number? Lily loves making new friends. And honestly, it's been really nice talking to another adult who doesn't just want to discuss report cards and field trip permission slips. Maya hesitated for just a second, then rattled off her number. David typed it in and sent her a quick text so she'd have his. There, he said. Now you're officially in our circle. Warning. Lily might text you pictures of her artwork. She's learned how to use my phone, and she's not shy about it. I'd love that, Maya said, and she meant it. Lily perked up enough to give Maya a sleepy hug. Maya's throat tightened with emotion. Thank you, sweetie. You too. As David and Lily walked toward the door, Lily turned back and waved. David gave Maya one last smile. A smile that seemed to say, "You're going to be okay." Well, after they left, Maya sat there for a moment, staring at the text message on her phone. It was just a simple, "Hi, it's David and Lily," with a smiley face emoji. But it felt like more than that. It felt like a reminder that kindness still existed in the world. That not everyone would see her as someone unworthy. That maybe, just maybe, tonight hadn't been a complete disaster after all. She finished her second latte, which was still warm, and left the cafe with a lighter heart than she'd had in a long time. Yes, Trevor had hurt her. Yes, the date had been awful, but somehow, two strangers had turned her worst evening into something unexpectedly beautiful. As she walked to her car, her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number, but she knew who it was. David had sent a photo. It was Lily, already in her pajamas, holding up her butterfly coloring page with a huge grin. The message below it read, "She wanted you to see the finished butterfly. Thanks for making our Friday night special. Sleep well. We wanted you to see the 35, too." Maya smiled. Really smiled. For the first time all day. Maybe the universe had a funny way of working things out after all. The next morning, Maya woke up to 3 text messages, all from Lily, using David's phone. The first was a photo of pancakes with a smiley face made from blueberries. The second was a picture of Mr. Whiskers, the fat cat, sleeping in a sink. The third simply said, "Good morning, new friend." Maya found herself grinning at her phone. She texted back a photo of the sunrise from her apartment window, and a simple, "Good morning to you too." What started as occasional messages turned into daily conversations. David would text her funny stories from his classroom, like the time a student tried to convince him that their abstract painting was actually a detailed portrait. They just had to feel it with their soul. Or when another student accidentally glued their hand to a sculpture and they had to call the nurse. Maya would send pictures of her cake creations. A 3-tier wedding cake with delicate sugar flowers. A superhero cake for a kid's birthday party with hand-painted fondant figures. David was always impressed, always encouraging. "You're incredibly talented," he texted one evening. "Seriously. These should be in magazines or something. You're just being nice. I'm an art teacher. Trust me, I know talent when I see it. And you've got it." 2 weeks passed in this comfortable rhythm of texting and sharing pieces of their days. Then, one Wednesday afternoon, David called her instead of texting. "Hey, sorry to call out of the blue," he said. "But Lily has an art show at school this Friday evening, and she specifically asked if you could come. I know it's probably weird, and you barely know us, but she's been talking about you non-stop. Something about wanting to show the cake lady her paintings." Maya's first instinct was to say no. It felt like too much. Too fast. But then she remembered Lily's sweet face, her genuine kindness that night at the cafe. "I'd love to come," she heard herself say. "Really? That's great. Lily's going to be so excited." Fair warning though. Elementary school art shows are chaos. Proud parents everywhere, kids hopped up on juice boxes, The whole thing. Maya laughed. I think I can handle it. Friday evening came quickly. Maya changed outfits 4 times before settling on a simple green dress and cardigan. She bought a small bouquet of flowers for Lily, hoping it wasn't too much. The school gymnasium was exactly as David had described. Complete chaos. Colorful artwork covered every available wall space. Children ran around excitedly, pointing out their creations to anyone who would look. Parents held up phones, taking countless photos. Maya spotted Lily immediately. The little girl was wearing a sparkly dress and had a name tag that said, Artist Lily Chen. The moment Lily saw Maya, her whole face lit up. You came! You came! Lily grabbed her hand and started pulling her toward the wall. Come see my paintings. I made 5 of them. David appeared beside them, looking slightly frazzled but happy. Hey, you made it. Sorry about the mob scene. Every year I forget how intense these things are. It's wonderful, Maya said honestly. The energy was chaotic, but joyful. Lily's artwork was actually impressive for a 6-year-old. There was a painting of a beach with remarkably detailed seashells, a portrait of Mr. Whiskers that captured his grumpy expression perfectly, a sunset with bold, confident brushstrokes, and a painting of 3 stick figures with the words, My family, written in careful letters at the top. That's me, Daddy, and you, Lily explained, pointing at each figure. I painted it after we met you. Because you're our friend now. Maya felt her throat tighten with emotion. She'd been included in this child's picture of family. After knowing her for just a few hours, Lily had made room for her. It's beautiful, Lily. You're a real artist, Maya said, kneeling down to hug her. The art show lasted 2 hours. Maya met several of David's colleagues from the high school. They all seemed genuinely nice, and no one gave her the kind of judging looks she'd grown used to. David's fellow teacher Rachel even asked for Maya's number, saying she needed a cake for her daughter's birthday next month. After the show, they went to a pizza place down the street. Lily was buzzing with excitement, talking a mile a minute about all the compliments she'd received on her artwork. Maya and David let her ramble, occasionally exchanging amused glances over her head. At one point, Lily fell asleep in the booth, worn out from all the excitement. The restaurant had quieted down, with only a few other customers left. Soft music played in the background. Thank you for coming tonight, David said quietly, so as not to wake Lily. It really meant a lot to her. And to me. Honestly, I'm glad I came. Lily's amazing. You've done such a great job raising her. 1. David looked down at his sleeping daughter with such love in his eyes. My wife, Jenny, she passed away from cancer. I'm so sorry, Maya said softly. That must have been incredibly hard. It was the worst time of my life, David admitted. There were days I didn't think I'd make it through. But Lily needed me. You know? So, I had to keep going. Kids have this way of forcing you to be stronger than you think you are. They talked for another hour, long after they'd finished their pizza. David told her about Jenny, about their love story, about how she'd been a nurse who could make anyone smile even on their worst days. He talked about the grief, the loneliness of single parenthood, the difficulty of being both mom and dad. Maya opened up too. She told him about her ex-boyfriend, about years of feeling like she was never quite enough, about her dreams of opening a bakery, and her fear that she'd never be brave enough to try, about growing up without much money and still struggling to make ends meet, working at Henderson's. Can I ask you something? David said. Sure, Maya said. That guy at the cafe, what he said to you, do you believe it? Do you really think you're not worth someone's time because of how you look? Oh, Maya was quiet for a moment. Sometimes. Most of the time. Actually, it's hard not to, when that's the message you get. Over and over. David leaned forward, his expression serious. Can I tell you what I see when I look at you? I see someone whose eyes light up when she talks about creating beautiful cakes. I see someone who took time out of her evening to come to a kid's art show because it mattered to that kid. I see someone with genuine kindness and a beautiful smile. That guy couldn't see what was right in front of him, and that's his loss. A huge loss. Maya felt tears prickling her eyes, but this time they were different. Not tears of hurt, but of something else. Something like hope. "You're easy to talk to," she said. "I don't think I've opened up to anyone like this in years." "Same here," David admitted. "I haven't really dated since Jenny died. Everyone I've met either runs when they find out I have a kid, or they stick around but make it clear they're not interested in being a parent. It's lonely. Always being the third wheel to couples. Always going home to an empty bed after Lily falls asleep." "I get that," Maya said. "Different circumstances, but I get the loneliness." They stayed until the restaurant was closing, talking about everything and nothing. When they finally left, David walked Maya to her car while carrying a sleeping Lily. "Same time next week?" he asked with a grin. "Just kidding. Unless you want to. Lily starts soccer next Saturday, and she'd love it if you came to watch. No pressure, though." Maya didn't even hesitate. "Text me the details. I'll be there." As she drove home that night, Maya realized something had shifted. For the first time in years, she wasn't going home feeling lonely. She was going home feeling hopeful, feeling seen, feeling like maybe she'd found something special. Not just a friend, but the possibility of something more. Over the next month, Maya became a regular part of David and Lily's life. She went to Lily's soccer games every Saturday, cheering louder than anyone else on the sidelines. She helped Lily with an art project for school. She even taught them both how to make chocolate chip cookies from scratch, though David managed to burn the first batch. They fell into an easy rhythm. Movie nights on Fridays, with Lily falling asleep between them on the couch. Sunday morning breakfasts where David would attempt to make fancy omelets, while Maya and Lily rated his efforts. Quiet evenings after Lily's bedtime where Maya and David would talk for hours about everything under the sun. Maya knew she was falling for David. How could she not? He was kind, funny, and looked at her like she was the most interesting person in the world, but she was terrified to say anything. Terrified to risk what they had. So she kept her feelings locked away, telling herself that friendship was enough. Then everything changed on a Tuesday afternoon. Maya was working at the bakery, putting the finishing touches on a birthday cake, when an older woman walked in. She was elegantly dressed, with silver hair and sharp eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. "Can I help you?" Maya asked, wiping her hands on her apron. "Are you Maya?" the woman asked, her voice cool and measured. "Yes, that's me. Are you here to order a cake?" "No. I'm here to talk to you about my son, David Chen." Maya's stomach dropped. This had to be David's mother. She could see the resemblance in the shape of her eyes, the set of her jaw. "Oh," Maya said, trying to smile. "It's nice to meet you. David's mentioned you." "I wish I could say the same," the woman replied. "But he's been rather secretive about you. I had to hear about you from Lily, who apparently talks about you constantly. So I did some investigating. Found out where you worked." There was something in her tone that made Maya nervous. "Would you like to sit down? I can make us some coffee. This won't take long." David's mother looked around the small bakery, and Maya suddenly saw it through her eyes. The worn counters, the outdated decor, the cramped workspace. "I need to be direct with you. My son has been through enough pain. He lost his wife. He's raising a child alone. And the last thing he needs is complications." "I'm not sure I understand," Maya said, though she had a sinking feeling she understood perfectly. "You seem like a nice enough person. But David needs someone who can be a proper partner to him. Someone who fits into our family. Someone who can be a good mother figure for Lily. And honestly, looking at you, I don't think you're that person." The words hit Maya like a physical blow. Excuse me? Lily's already been through so much, losing her mother. She doesn't need to get attached to someone who's just temporary. Someone who's just a friend passing through. David needs someone stable, someone accomplished. Someone who, frankly, takes better care of themselves. Maya felt her face burning. You don't know anything about me. I know enough. I know you work in a bakery making minimum wage. I know you've been single for years. I know that people who look like you typically have self-control issues. My son and granddaughter deserve better than whatever this is. She gestured vaguely at Maya. You need to leave, Maya said, her voice shaking. Right now. I'm just being honest. Someone has to be. David's too kind to see it. But I'm trying to protect my family. Do the right thing and distance yourself before Lily gets more attached. Before my son makes a mistake he'll regret. After she left, Maya stood frozen in the middle of the bakery. Her boss, Mr. Henderson, came out from the back room looking concerned. You okay, Maya? I heard some of that. What a horrible woman. I'm fine, Maya lied. But she wasn't fine. Every insecurity she'd ever had came flooding back. What was she thinking? Of course David's family wouldn't accept her. Of course she wasn't good enough. She was fooling herself thinking she could be part of their lives. That evening, when David texted asking if she wanted to come over for dinner, Maya made an excuse. She was tired, had a headache, needed to catch up on sleep. The next day, she did the same. And the day after that. By the end of the week, David called her instead of texting. Maya, what's going on? Did I do something wrong? Lily keeps asking for you. And honestly, I miss you too. Talk to me. I'm just busy with work, Maya said, hating how weak her voice sounded. That's not it. I know that's not it. Please, just tell me what's wrong. Maya tried to hold it together, but she couldn't. The tears came, and once they started, she couldn't stop them. Your mother came to see me, she finally said. There was a long silence on the other end. She came to the bakery. She told me I wasn't good enough for you and Lily, that I should stay away before Lily gets more attached. And David, maybe she's right. Maybe I've been fooling myself thinking I could be part of your lives. Where are you right now? David asked, his voice tight. I'm at home. But, stay there. I'm coming over. We need to talk about this face to face. 20 minutes later, there was a knock on Maya's apartment door. When she opened it, David stood there, looking angrier than she'd ever seen him. Tell me exactly what my mother said to you. Maya repeated the conversation, watching David's expression grow darker with every word. When she finished, he ran his hands through his hair in frustration. I'm so sorry. I can't believe she did that. I can't believe she would say those things to you. But what if she's right? Maya whispered. What if I'm not enough? I can barely make rent, David. I work in a bakery. I'm not successful or accomplished. And I'm certainly not thin or pretty or any of the things someone like you should be with. Someone like me? David looked genuinely confused. Maya, what are you talking about? You're a teacher. You're educated. You have your life together. You're raising an amazing daughter. And I'm just me. I'm barely getting by. I have nothing to offer you. David stepped closer, taking her hands in his. Can I tell you something? These past 2 months have been the happiest Lily and I have been since Jenny died. You brought joy back into our lives. Real, genuine joy. Lily laughs more. She smiles more. She talks about you like you hung the moon. And me? Maya, I haven't felt this way about anyone since my wife. I wake up excited to text you. I go through my day looking for things to tell you about. I fall asleep, thinking about your laugh. David, I'm falling in love with you, he said simply. Actually, I think I've already fallen, and I've been trying to work up the courage to tell you, but I was scared. Scared you didn't feel the same way. Scared of moving too fast. But I can't let you believe my mother's poison. You are more than enough. You're everything. Maya stared at him, unable to process what she was hearing. You love me? Yes. I love how you make Lily feel special. I love how passionate you are about your cakes. I love your kindness and your laugh, and the way you see the world. I love all of you, exactly as you are. And if you feel even a fraction of what I feel, then we can figure out the rest together. My mother doesn't get a vote in this. But what if she never accepts me? What if I'm not a good enough mother figure for Lily? Lily loves you already. And my mother will come around, or she won't. But that's her problem. Not ours. Maya. I spent 2 years thinking I'd never feel this way again. That part of my life was over. And then you walked into it. Or rather, I walked up to your table, like some awkward guy with his kid, and everything changed. Maya felt the tears flowing again, but this time they were different. I love you too. I've been so scared to admit it. But I do. I love you. And I love Lily. And this terrifies me, because I don't want to lose it. David pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. You're not going to lose us. We're not going anywhere. We're in this together now. All 3 of us. They stood there in her small apartment, holding each other. And for the first time since David's mother walked into the bakery, Maya let herself believe that maybe, just maybe, this could actually work. The next morning, David showed up at his mother's house with Lily. He'd asked Maya to come too, but she'd refused. This was something he needed to handle, with his family, first. Maya understood, even though her stomach was in knots waiting to hear how it went. David's mother opened the door with a surprised expression. David, I wasn't expecting you. And on a Saturday morning, we need to talk, Mom. Can we come in? Inside, David sat Lily down with her coloring books in the living room, then joined his mother in the kitchen. His hands were shaking slightly, but his voice was steady. I know you went to see Maya. I know what you said to her. His mother had the grace to look slightly uncomfortable. I was only thinking of what's best for you and Lily. No, you were thinking about what you want. What you think our lives should look like. But this isn't your decision to make. Mom. David, be reasonable. That woman is not right for you. You need someone who... Stop. David's voice was firm. I'm going to say this once, and I need you to really hear me. Maya is the best thing that's happened to Lily and me in 2 years. She's kind, talented, and she loves us. Really loves us. Not the idea of us, not what we can give her, but who we actually are. But if you're about to comment on her appearance or her job or her income, don't. Just don't. Because that's not what matters. What matters is that Lily lights up when Maya walks in the room. What matters is that, for the first time since Jenny died, I can imagine a future that isn't just about surviving. What matters is that I love her, Mom. I love her, Mom. His mother was quiet for a long moment. You really love her? Yes, I really do. And Lily? David walked to the living room doorway. Lily, honey, can you come here for a second? Lily bounded in, holding a drawing. Look, Grandma. I drew a picture of our family. That's Daddy. That's me. That's Mr. Whiskers. And that's Maya. David's mother looked at the drawing. In typical 6-year-old style, Maya was drawn with a huge smile and a heart on her shirt. Above her head, Lily had written, My Maya, in wobbly letters. Sweetie, David's mother said carefully. What do you like about Maya? Lily didn't hesitate. Everything. She's nice and funny, and she makes the best cookies. She comes to all my soccer games, even when it's cold outside. She helps me with my art. She gives the best hugs. And she makes Daddy smile again. He didn't smile much after Mommy went to heaven. But now, he smiles all the time. David's mother's eyes filled with tears. She looked at her son, then at her granddaughter, then back at the drawing. Before Mommy died, Lily continued, her voice getting quieter, she told me something important. She said that love is about what's in people's hearts, not what they look like on the outside. She said, when I grow up, I should find people with good hearts and keep them close. Maya has the best heart, Grandma. Don't you think so? The room was silent except for the ticking of the kitchen clock. Finally, David's mother spoke, her voice thick with emotion. Your mommy was a very wise woman, Lily. I know, Lily said matter-of-factly. So can Maya come to Sunday dinner tomorrow? Daddy says she can't come until you say sorry for being mean to her. David's mother looked at her son. You told her? Lily asked why Maya wasn't around. I believe in being honest with her. Age-appropriate, honest, but honest. His mother sat down heavily in a chair. I was wrong. I can see that now. I thought I was protecting you both, but I was really just being judgmental and cruel. Jenny would be ashamed of me. Jenny would be ashamed of me. Jenny would be ashamed of me. Jenny would want us to be happy, David said gently. And Maya makes us happy. Will she forgive me? His mother asked. I don't know, Mom. You were pretty harsh. But Maya has the biggest heart of anyone I know. If you sincerely apologize and give her a real chance, I think she might. That Sunday, Maya stood outside David's mother's house, her heart pounding. David held her hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. You don't have to do this if you're not ready, he said softly. I want to, Maya said, though her voice shook slightly. For us, for Lily. The door opened, and David's mother stood there. She looked different somehow. Less severe. More uncertain. Maya, thank you for coming. Please, come in. Inside, the house smelled like roasted chicken and fresh bread. Lily ran up and hugged Maya immediately, chattering about a butterfly she'd seen in the garden. After Lily ran off to play, David's mother approached Maya. Could we talk? Just for a moment? They stepped into the study, leaving David in the living room. Maya's hands were clenched at her sides, preparing for another confrontation. I owe you an apology, David's mother began. What I said to you at the bakery was cruel, judgmental, and completely out of line. I was operating from fear and outdated ideas about what my son's life should look like. But watching Lily yesterday, seeing how much you mean to her, hearing David talk about you with such love in his voice, I realized I was wrong. Completely wrong. Maya didn't know what to say. My daughter-in-law, Jenny, she was an incredible woman. Before she died, she made me promise that I'd help David find happiness again someday, that I wouldn't let him stay alone out of grief or loyalty to her memory. And here I was, pushing away exactly what she would have wanted for him. Someone who genuinely loves him, and Lily. I do love them, Maya said quietly. More than I can explain. I can see that. And I'm asking if you can forgive a foolish old woman who let her prejudices cloud her judgment. I would very much like to start over, if you're willing. Maya thought about holding on to the anger, about the hurt those words had caused. But then she thought about David's smile, about Lily's drawings, about the family she could have if she was brave enough to forgive. I'd like that, Maya said. A fresh start. David's mother smiled, and for the first time, Maya could see the warmth in her eyes. Now come on, dinner's getting cold, and Lily's been talking about showing you her rock collection all morning. The dinner was surprisingly easy. David's mother asked Maya genuine questions about her cake decorating, about her dreams of opening her own bakery. She shared stories about David as a child, making everyone laugh. Lily was in her element, soaking up the attention and the love around the table. 6 months later, Maya stood in front of a small storefront on Maple Street. The windows were still soaped over, but through them, she could see the space that would soon become her bakery, her very own bakery. It had been David's idea to apply for the small business loan. He'd helped her with the paperwork, cheered her through the nerve-wracking interview, and celebrated with her when the approval came through. David's mother had even invested some money, insisting she believed in Maya's talent. What are you going to call it? Lily asked, holding Maya's hand and bouncing excitedly. I'm not sure yet, Maya admitted. How about Maya's magic cakes, Lily suggested. I like that, David said, wrapping his arm around Maya's waist. Has a nice ring to it. Maya leaned into him, feeling overwhelmed with gratitude. 6 months ago, she'd been sitting in a cafe, crying over a man who couldn't see her worth. Now she was standing in front of her dream, surrounded by people who loved her exactly as she was. There's something else, David said, suddenly sounding nervous. He pulled a small box from his pocket and got down on one knee right there on the sidewalk. Lily squealed with excitement. Daddy's doing it. He's doing it. Maya, these past months with you have been the best of my life. You've brought so much joy, so much love, so much light into our lives. Lily and I can't imagine our future without you in it. Will you marry us? Will you be my wife and Lily's mom? Maya looked at the ring, then at David's hopeful face, then at Lily, who was literally vibrating with excitement. Tears streamed down her face as she nodded. Yes. Lily launched herself at Maya, wrapping her arms around her waist. We're going to be a real family now. We were already a real family, sweetie, Maya said, kneeling down to hug her. But now it's official. As David slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her right there on the sidewalk in front of her future bakery, Maya thought about that awful blind date 6 months ago, about Trevor walking out and leaving her alone and humiliated. She'd thought that night was the worst moment of her life. But really, it had been the beginning of the best thing that ever happened to her. Because if Trevor hadn't walked out, David and Lily never would have walked up. She never would have found this love, this family, this life that felt almost too good to be true. Sometimes, Maya realized, the worst moments lead you exactly where you're meant to be. You just have to be brave enough to keep your heart open when kindness finds you. And as she stood there, surrounded by love and possibility and hope, Maya knew that her story was just beginning. The best chapters were still ahead, waiting to be written.